What's going on, guys? So here we are today. We have this small pantry, and the thing of it being for us is, obviously you can see over here the hinges for the door are on this side and the door handle's on the other side. So when we open the door, you have to open the door all the way up and reach over here and flip the switch. So what we done is we went to our local box store and we got one of these Leviton motion sensor switches. These things, they're junk. It's useless. This is only like a 5x5 pantry, and the problem we're having is you can close the door. There's nothing in here, that no air vents, no air movement, no nothing, and the light just randomly comes on by itself. So what I done is got in touch with a friend of mine. Shout out to John Alexander. He sent me down to one of the local electrical supply houses and told me to get a Legrand watt stopper. This is what they call an occupancy sensor. And while this one has adjustments, this one has fine adjustments here. Actually, I'm holding it upside down. This one has fine adjustments as far as time, light sensitivity, and trigger motion. The guys even at the store said you never have to buy another one. Once you put this one in, it's done. They pretty much said if it goes bad, bring it back, they'll give me another one. So that's pretty cool. It is a little bit more expensive than the one at Lowe's, but just a few dollars. It's not a whole lot of price difference. So what I done is I went out to the circuit breakers and shut the breaker off for in here. And I'm just going to verify in here before I take this loose that we don't have any power coming into this panel or junction box here where the switch is at. And I'm going to spin this switch out. I would have showed you the installation on this switch, but really didn't think about it at the time. But because we're having a problem with that Leviton switch, I figured I would do this video and show you kind of how things go as far as putting one of these motion sensor switches in. Now, what you're going to see here when we pull it out is we've got our black wire here, our ground, and then another black. Well, the thing of it being is I already know that this is my line. When I put the switch in before, I verified which one was which. This is my line coming in and this is going out to my light. So we're gonna take these loose. We'll just spin the screws loose on this switch. And luckily the box store locally, they'll take it back. So we'll just package it back up in that package I threw away just a second ago. And we'll return it. So that's it. This one you'll see has got the terminals on the back here to where you actually put the wires into it. This one has like pigtails coming out of it, and it has 4 wires instead of 3. This one right here is designed to connect to the neutral, which is back here in the back. There's a wire nut on it there that I'm going to take off and attach this to. If you don't have a neutral, if you follow the instructions, it'll tell you to tie the ground and the blue with white stripe wire together to the ground itself. Since we have a neutral, we're going to do it that way, just to ensure that it's hooked up properly. And since we have the neutral available, we're going to use it. Let's see. Spin that off. These are already pre-stripped. Should be enough sticking out there that we can put this on and put the wire nut on it. I'm going to reuse this tan wire nut since I'm doing basically 2, I believe these are 12 gauge wires in here. When we wired the house, we pretty much did everything 12. We didn't run 14 to the lights. We just went ahead and went with the 12 gauge so it'll hold a 20 amp circuit and let it go. So now we've got our ground. We're going to take it loose, and they actually supply wire nuts with the switch itself. So I'm going to pop these open, take one of these out, and we'll go ahead and connect our ground, which is going to be just our solid copper wire and our green. Hook that up. Make sure it's twisted on nice and tight. Some people tape these. I don't. I feel like if you put the wire nuts on there and actually tighten them down, that they're not going to get moved around. If this was in a mobile home or you know, like an RV or something to that extent, might be a different story. But we've got our black wire that goes to our hot lead here, and this is our line coming in from the panel itself, from our circuit breaker. So we're going to tie it on, tuck it in. Then one more to go here. This next one is the red wire coming off of this switch. And, you know, if you get a different brand switch, I guess the wire colors could be different. I don't know. I'm just going off of the Legrand here. But we're going to attach this. This goes to the light itself. So this is where it comes out of the switch and turns the light on. We're just going to screw that terminal on there. Double check, make sure everything's secure. We're going to tuck our wires in, make sure everything's out of the way good. Then we're going to install our switch. Now, funny thing of it is most of these switches, normally I've seen the little push button switch is on the bottom. These actually install the other way. That may make it better, may make it worse. To my understanding, it's basically, this sensor has 180 degree visibility. So from this sensor switch out, there's 180 degrees all the way around that it can see and pick up motion in order to turn the light on and off. So we're just going to snug that up. Now, Legrand provides you with these strips. You can place these strips over the sensor and narrow that range down. You know, you could cut this in half and only have half of the sensor working, or you could cut it in half over here and only have this half of the sensor work. It just really depends on where this switch is located in your application as to how you want to set it up and where you want it to pick up motion at. For us, we're not worried about it. As soon as we open the door, we want the light to come on. Now, what we'll do is once we get this power back to it, we're actually going to adjust this down to the lowest time setting, which is about 30 seconds. Because that's all we need. Once we close the door and there's no more motion, the light doesn't need to stay on after that. We just need it to come on while we're in the pantry, getting something out, you know, moving stuff around or whatever the case may be. So we've got this switch installed. Now, we've got our cover. And this just uses a standard cover, no different than any other square switch plate, but we can't put it on yet because we have to install the cover piece for this, and it needs to have the cover off in order to install this. Well, we have to take this off in order to make our adjustments. So what we're going to do is we'll flip our power on, we'll get power back in here, we'll make some adjustments on this, put our covers on, and the job will be finished. All right, so guys, you saw the light come on there. So we're standing here at it. I'm going to grab the instruction booklet. You know, when in doubt, read the instructions, obviously. And Leviton's instructions were not real clear. Legrand is pretty nice. They're going to tell you right here, time delay. 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 25, or 30. So basically, after this doesn't see motion, 30 minutes later, it would cut off if you set it at the max. Now, we're actually going to set it for the 30 seconds, which is already what it's on. So it's on the 30-second mark now. Beside this is going to be L and S for the two switches. The light level, in other words, if it's super bright outside, it's not going to come on. So what we want to do is adjust that all the way down, because we want it to come on even if the lights in the kitchen here are on like they are now, and we're getting ambient light in here from it. We open the door, we want the light to pop on, then we want the light to cut off. On the other side is the sensitivity, and we're actually going to set that about the middle, and we're going to try it out there and see how it does. We don't need a whole lot of sensitivity because we're only about 3.5, 4 feet away from the switch right now when we open the door. So it should pick us up without any problem. And as long as I'm standing here moving and talking, it's going to stay off or stay on, excuse me. It's not going to go off until we stop moving completely. So what we'll do is we'll shut the door, shut everything off, and we'll go ahead and do the test, see when it's going to cut off, if it's going to come back on like it's supposed to, and we'll make our final adjustments. All right, guys, so there we are. Everything's adjusted like we want it to be, and the switch is working like it's supposed to. It cuts off, comes on. We're going to reinstall our little switch here. Click that in, and then put our cover plate on. As I drop the screw.
Here you are.
Think of love. It's always good to have a helper. And there we go. Looks like. All right. And there we go. So guys, that's it. Our switch is installed. These switches can be manually operated just by pressing the button or pressing it to turn it off. We're going to leave it set on motion like it is now. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I hope this helps you out. I hope if you have one of these Leviton switches and it's not working for you, that this helps you to understand that there is a difference in brands. You know, maybe we got a dud switch. I don't know. But it didn't come highly recommended from my guys that do electrical full-time for a living and have been for years and years. They recommended this watt stopper from Legrand, and so far it works better than this one does. We're going to test it out over a couple of days, and we'll see how it goes. Listen, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Be sure and hit that subscribe button for us, and tick that bell so you get notified when we release new videos. Give us a thumbs up. Drop comments or questions down below. Stick with us. We'll be coming to you with more.